morning.
Good morning, Dan. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
Yes, sir. My name is Sergeant Gary Scott Coleman. I work for the Chatham County Police Department. I am the supervisor of their crime scene unit. I started police work in 2002. This is my 23rd year. I have been doing forensic work since 2009. I was one of the two supervisors of Chatham County, Savannah-Chatham County Metro PD after the demerger. Because I was a previous county employee, I came back to start up the new county police, and that's where I've been since.
And in October of 2022, were you heading up the Chatham County Police Department's forensics unit?
Yes, sir, I was.
Who did you have under you?
At that time, had Corporal Philip Schenker. A Corporal Matthew Diggins had just started on Monday, and this was a Wednesday, so he was brand new. And I had a Corporal Michelle Shiro, who her last day was Friday, so I wasn't using her for that.
Now, did the forensics unit? Well, let me ask you just a couple more questions about your background.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what, if any, training you have in the acquisition of digital evidence and analysis of digital evidence?
Yes, sir. I have a certification from the Department of Homeland Security. FLETC is what they call it down in Brunswick. They like to use a lot of acronyms, so it's a Digital Evidence Acquisition Specialist. I also have a certification through Department of Homeland Security in Glencoe in seized computer evidence recovery as well.
Now, every time you use an acronym, I'm going to have to ask you for the record what it stands for. What is FLETC? People may know.
FLETC is the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia, which is right near Brunswick.
Okay. Let's go back to October 5th.
Yes, sir.
Did your forensics unit respond to 535 Buckhalter that day?
Yes, sir, we did.
And were you there in a supervisory capacity over what forensics was doing?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us the various things that you all did out there that day?
The main objective that day, because it was a missing child, was the department owns several drones. Myself and one other of my investigators has their FAA license to fly a drone. We figured we could cover a lot more area. It borders Hunter Army Airfield. If you go a little bit further down Buckhalter, I had to call the Hunter Air Tower to see if we could clear the air because, the military doesn't really like anybody telling them what to do. So, but we got the air cleared so we could search. Batteries in these drones, they drain very fast. We have 4 sets and they do not charge very fast. So the mission lasted about an hour. It's equipped with a thermal device as well. We use the thermal during the day and we were not able to locate anybody. So we packed up and left.
At some point when you were out there, did y'all document the premises with photographs and so forth?
Corporal Schenker did.
Okay. Now, did you go to Chatham County Police Department headquarters?
Yes, after I left the scene.
And was that where the defendant and Daniel Youngkin and Paul Simon were being interviewed?
Yes, I was aware they were in the building.
Just for the record, is that building where they were interviewed on October 5th, is that in Chatham County?
Yes, sir, it is.
While you were present at Chatham County Police Department headquarters, were you asked to conduct any digital evidence acquisition?
Yes, I was.
Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I believe it was Detective Cox, Detective Jenny Cox, brought me 3 phones. She identified them as the defendant's phone, Paul Simon's phone and Daniel's phone. We have a machine called, it's a company called Cellbrite. You probably heard that already. That company specializes in extracting certain kinds of information from cell phones. Detective Cox informed me they had gotten verbal consent to search the phones, and I went ahead and extracted all three of them, and then provided them back to Detective Cox when I was finished with them.
Now, how did you go about conducting the Cellbrite extractions on this phone? Can you just, at a high level, kind of walk us through the process?
So when you get a phone, it's always really good to have the code, and I believe they had provided the codes. The machine, it's basically like plugging it into a charger, for lack of a better. The machine is a box about that big. It also works with software on a computer, so it's plugged into a computer, and it will select the make and the model of the phone if it's in the catalog. Otherwise, you have to manually include it to put it in. Once you do that, you basically, there's a lot of technical stuff that you get into, but you make a folder, you tell the computer where you want the extraction to go, and you push the button, and it does it. It does the magic.
And then you said you turn those extractions around to the detectives?
Yes. So typically what I do is when I perform an extraction, it comes out as a UFD file. If you're familiar with Microsoft or what have you, it'll come out as a .doc file, like a doc file, or an Excel spreadsheet, it's a .excel file. This will come out as a .ufd. It's a proprietary that Cellbrite, the company, has. Typically, I will do as my workflow, other people might do it differently, but my workflow is I will go ahead and initiate a report. The machine then goes ahead and does a UFD report. A lot of our detectives at our department like to be able to work off the computer instead of looking at a 400-page PDF document. So that's what we do. We go ahead and just do the report on a UFD file. They come and bring us a jump drive or a small, external drive, and we then copy it over there, an exact copy over there.
When a detective gets one of these Cellbrite extractions from you and opens up the UFD file, what can you, because we've been talking all about this, we haven't actually seen it.
Yeah.
What are they looking at? Like, what does it look like to go through a cell phone extraction as a detective?
So there is a reader program that the Cellbrite will put into the folders, and think about it like Adobe Reader. Okay, like you might not have the full-blown version of Adobe Acrobat, but you'll have the Adobe Reader. It's a light version. It comes up as kind of a dashboard. It shows, the phone, what it looks like, the make, the model, serial number, phone number. There are a few other identifier numbers that the carrier uses to identify that number on their network so they can bill you properly. But they're very specific numbers. And then on the left-hand side of the computer screen, you'll see such things as the calendar, and you can click on calendar, and it'll show you if anybody had put calendar invites or booked any dates. MMS for multimedia messages. We call it texting. Things used to be SMS texting where you couldn't send pictures and stuff, but if you have an Android, it's generally green. If you have an iPhone, it's blue. You can text pictures, things like that. That's why we call it multimedia.
Now, do you see in front of you an object marked as State's Exhibit 52.
Yes.
Do you know what's in that envelope?
Yes, it is I believe it to be a thumb drive that says Cellbrite Extractions. It has my last name, it has my initials, and the date of 10/4/24.
And is that the date that you reviewed the contents of that thumb drive?
Yes, sir, it is.
And what is on that thumb drive?
This is, it's a dump of one of the 3 phones that I did.
Is it one or is it all 3 of them? And we can, if you want to, if we need to plug it into the computer, we can do that.
I could do it if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, come on down. Have you now reviewed the contents of State's Exhibit 52?
Yes, sir, I have.
Can you tell us what's on it?
Yes, it is the extraction of Leilani Simon, Paul Simon, and Daniel Youngkin's cell phones.
And are those the extractions that you performed on October 5th?
Yes, sir.
And are those the extractions that you turned around to the detectives?
Yes.
Your Honor, I offer this as State's Exhibit 52.
No objection.
Is 52 is admitted without objection.
Now, do you see in front of you a document marked as State's Exhibit 53?
Yes, sir, I do.
Can you flip through that and let me know when you're ready to talk about it?
Yes, sir. Okay.
All right. Do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
It's actually the first page that what I was describing a few minutes ago. It's the first page that you'll look at on a UFD reader after you've extracted a phone. I can see that it is, the first page is an Apple iPhone XS Max. The Apple ID is simonlalani2@gmail.com. The second is a Android SM S134DL. Samsung likes to use weird things for their phone names. It does not appear to have, because it's not an Apple, it doesn't have an email address associated with it. It's an Android phone.
Can you tell the phone number of that phone from looking at that screenshot? Do you see a field on there, MSISDN?
That's it. 910 after you give me my eyes are not what they used to be. 910-729-1458.
So would that be the screenshot of Daniel, first opening frame of Daniel Youngkin's?
Yes, it's a Samsung.
And then what about the third page?
The third is another Android operating system phone. It is a Motorola G Pure. The phone number is 912-658-6410.
And would that be Paul's?
That is going to be Paul Simon's phone.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as State's Exhibit 53.
Objection.
I want to publish these and just briefly have you kind of walk us on to where you're seeing this stuff, okay?
Okay.
All right, so this is the first page. We're going to zoom way in. In this pink box right here, do you see some dates there?
Yes, sir.
What do those dates refer to?
Those are the dates when the extraction started and then when the extraction was over with.
All right, and we see October 5th there.
Yes, sir.
And this is for which phone now?
This is for the iPhone XX Max, which I believe was Leilani Simon's phone.
All right, moving down a little bit. The Apple ID indicates as much.
Yes, you have to include an email address. If anybody's familiar with Apple, you have to have an Apple ID. It's an an email address associated with it.
All right, and is there somewhere on this list of identifiers where we can see what the phone number is?
Yes, right there, the MSISDN. It's area code 912-547-5275.
Okay. In this bit, it says examiner name.
Yes, sir.
Who's that?
That would be me.
Move on to the second page. This also indicates that this extraction was performed on the 5th
Yes, sir, it does.
by you.
Yes, sir.
And the MSISDN,
It is 910-729-458.
1458.
1458. Yes, sir.
Sorry, I should have zoomed in more for you. MSISDN is essentially the phone number.
Yes, sir. It's the carrier phone number.
And slide 3, also October 5th.
Yes, sir, it is.
Also you as the examiner.
Yes, sir.
And phone number here is
912-658-6410.
okay. All right. Were you involved in the collection of some video footage in this case?
Yes, sir, I was.
And have you prepared a presentation that stitches together some of the relevant video?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you go out and collect video, are you collecting only the, relevant 1 or 2 minutes, or are you collecting like a broader swath?
We can have a range that detectives will have us pull. I typically will do an hour before, an hour after, just in case we don't catch something. But through detective information, we were able to kind of narrow down a time frame a little bit less.
Now, the presentation that you've prepared, where does it contain video footage from? What locations?
It contains footage from Azalea Mobile Home Park. First of all, the rental, I guess the mobile home, which is used as a rental home office, and Real Time Auto,
Is New Ride Auto?
New Ride Auto, that is it. New Ride Auto.
Those are the 2 locations that we're going to see footage from?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do you see in front of you an exhibit marked as State's Exhibit 54?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you tell from the envelope what that is?
Yes.
What is that?
These are copies of videos that we pulled from Azalea Mobile Home Park.
All right. And what about State's Exhibit 56?
This is the New Ride Auto video with a certificate inside of it from the owner saying that it was properly working.
Your Honor, I would introduce these exhibits as 54 and 56.
No objection.
All right, 54, 56 are admitted.
All right. So those exhibits are just the raw copy of all the surveillance footage that you collected from those places,
Yes, sir.
which may be on the order of hours.
Yes.
Okay. Now, 57, what is that? State's Exhibit 57. And I think up there would be
57A.
57A and 57B.
This is the PowerPoint, the presentation that was put together, a disc.
Okay. And what about 57B? Is it just a printout of this?
It is a printout of the presentation.
Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about the components of this PowerPoint presentation, okay? Does it include video clips from these 2 locations from the relevant time period?
Yes, sir, it does.
Does it include some photographs of these, of Azalea that were taken by your forensics unit?
Yes, sir, it does.
And does it include some screenshots from Google Maps to help orient the jury on where these cameras are located and which direction they're pointing?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, at this time I would introduce this as State's Exhibit 57.
No objection.
57 is admitted without objection.
And I would ask to publish at this time, Your Honor.
You may do so. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of this, can you just kind of summarize broadly for us
Yes, sir.
what this presentation and the video footage contained in it are going to show as to the defendant's movement shortly after 1 a.m. on October 5th?
Yes, sir, I can. Would it help to stand our point?
Sure, yeah, you can stand up, tell me.
So the video is concentrated in this area right here.
I'm just gonna ask you, Sergeant,
Yes,
if you
ma'am.
can just be mindful of keeping your voice up. We have
Yes, ma'am.
Natalie trying to take
Sorry
everything
about
down.
This is the area that the video was collected from. The New Bride Auto is almost right on the corner of Buckhalter and 17 or Beachy Road. The way the Google map did it was it took you to the center of Azalea Mobile Home Park, but the office is approximately right here.
And what's it gonna show in terms of what that vehicle did, just in tight summary?
It shows it come in. It shows it come in the main road and continue down. And we lose track of it. It goes out of frame somewhere in here. And then we pick up a vehicle over on the exit. And then we see it come and then exit Azalea Mobile Home Park. It makes a left-hand turn, makes another left-hand turn at Buckhalter Road where New Ride Auto is about right here. They had a camera pointing this way, and you can see it head south on Buckhalter.
Back in the direction of 535 Buckhalter?
Yes, sir.
Now, is this video footage going to show that vehicle stationary at the dumpsters for any period of time during that trip?
Yes, sir.
For about how long, give or take?
Could have been 35, 45 seconds.
1 moment, please. All right, so with that preview, slide 1, what are we looking at here? What does this show?
So this is just an overall map of the area from 535 Buckhalter Road to Azalea Mobile Home Park. Google Maps is estimating that it takes 7 minutes and 2.7 miles.
Buckhalter Road is the L shape here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so even though there's a turn there, does it remain Buckhalter Road?
Yes, sir. It's a pretty sizable dog leg to the right.
Now, this road running kind of diagonal in the top left, this larger road, what is that?
That is Ogeechee Road. Some people call it highway. Well, it's a U.S. Highway 17, but a lot of locals call it Ogeechee Road.
You said that the video footage is concentrated in this area at the top, like the Buckhalter Ogeechee Road intersection?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, moving on to the next slide, where have we moved here?
So this is the intersection of Buckhalter Road and Highway 17 or Ogeechee Road. That is where the New Ride Auto is approximately right here. There is my Spanish isn't good. It's a Hispanic restaurant and grocery store right here.
Okay.
And then you head down and take a right at 4711 to go past a Chevron station that's right here, and that takes you directly into Azalea Mobile Home Park.
Now, the next slide, does this slide show the locations of the buildings from which you obtained the video footage?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. And can we see Ogeechee Road in this image?
Yes, it is the 4-lane with a divider running almost horizontally at the top of the screen.
And do you see the marker there for New Ride Auto?
Yes, sir.
Is that Buckhalter Road immediately to the left of that?
Yes, sir, that is. It's running north and south at that point from the vantage point you have.
Now, can we see the chevron in this image?
Yes, sir.
And where is it? I'm sorry to keep asking
It's all
you
right.
to get up, but that might be the easiest way to do it.
So this is the Chevron convenience store. These are the gas pumps for the Chevron station. Again, the store, the gas pumps for the Chevron station.
Okay, for the record, that's trying to think of the best way to do this. That would be above the left side of the yellow marker for the Azalea Management Office. If you go along the left side of that marker and go up, you see the white square, and that's the chevron. And then above that is the parking lot and pumps for the chevron.
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, this next slide, what intersection is this?
This is the intersection of Buckhalter Road, which is running north and south vertically across the screen. That is Ogeechee Road, Highway 17, running horizontally.
And do you see that structure with the yellow arrow pointing off of it?
Yes, sir, I do.
Now, that yellow arrow is something that we added, right, in PowerPoint?
Yes.
And what does that arrow signify?
That arrow signifies a camera that is mounted on that building.
And what is that building again?
That is a New Ride Auto.
Where does that camera point?
It points towards the, primarily Buckhalter Road, on the corner of the intersection
Okay.
and the entrance to Buckhalter.
Now, this next slide, and we back out to where we see both of the structures that we're going to talk about footage from, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in the next slide, you mentioned that you got camera footage from cameras mounted on the management shed at Azalea.
Yes.
I've now advanced again, so we see one arrow on the left side kind of pointing up. Do you see how that arrow is sort of on the edge of a white structure?
Yes, sir.
What is that white structure?
The white structure is the rental office for Azalea Mobile Home Park.
And what does that yellow arrow signify?
It is pointing in the direction of the camera, which we downloaded video from.
Okay, so does this yellow arrow signify one of the cameras from which you obtained video footage at that place?
Yes, sir.
Now, the monitoring system where you can look at the footage from these cameras, where is that?
It is located inside the rental office.
The same building that the cameras are hanging off of?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've advanced again. Now we see a second yellow arrow pointing more or less in the other direction, right?
Yes, sir.
What does this arrow signify?
So this arrow signifies a second camera that is pointed down the entrance road to Azalea Mobile Home Park.
All right, so we're at 2 Azalea cameras now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you were to travel, south on that road, would you pass through the frame of one camera and into the frame of another pretty much immediately?
Yes, sir. They're very close together.
I've advanced again, and now we see a third arrow pointing kind of like down and to the right and down a little bit on this slide. What does that arrow signify?
That is the third camera that we pulled video from. If you follow the arrow down and to the right, you might see this. You might see this greenish area, this brownish area.
Like in the extreme bottom right?
Yes, sir.
frame?
Yes, sir.
And what is there?
That is where the waste collection point is, the dumpsters for the community.
What is this? You see this, what looks like a white car here?
Yes.
All right. And then above that, the white structure that you've described as the management office, I think?
Yes, sir.
What is this sort of triangular area here?
It's kind of a maintenance yard. They appear to keep maintenance equipment in there, what have you, skid steers, just different types of maintenance equipment.
And is this yard bounded by a fence?
Yes, it is.
Can you describe that fence?
I call it a hurricane fence. It's a metal fence. And of note was that it had some green slats running through it.
And this triangular yard here, just north of that white maintenance shed, what's it bounded by on the other side of the fence?
Show me.
What is this here?
Oh, that is the exit road to Azalea Mobile Home Park.
Okay, so is it fair to say that if you want to come into Azalea, you come down this road here
Yes,
on the left,
yes,
and then if you want to get out, you can go out this way?
yes, sir.
Okay.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Is this a one-way street or two-way street?
It is a one-way street.
Okay, so it's a two-way street, or a one-way street to exit.
Yes,
Okay. And the dumpsters are over here in the bottom right-hand corner.
yes, sir.
What is the field of view like from this camera that's oriented in the direction of the maintenance yard and the dumpster? What are you, if you look at footage from that camera, what are you looking at?
You can look down the road. There is a fence, obviously the fence we've been talking about, but if you look right to the top of the fence, you will be able to see a lot further down the road.
If you come in on that entrance road, it's on kind of the left side of the frame, is it possible in Azalea to do sort of a complete loop that takes you out on the exit road that you described?
Yes, sir.
And I think you said earlier that's sort of how you're supposed to go in and
That's how you're supposed to, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I've gone back to where we're only looking at this, I've advanced to where we're looking at the single arrow pointed up. And that signifies the first camera that you were talking about, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. In this next slide where we see, it looks like we're looking at the monitor for a security system and an iPhone. What are we looking at here?
So that is the camera from the arrow that y'all just saw on the Google map, pointing towards, in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see the Chevron station building, and out here, you'll see Ogeechee Road.
All right, you're indicating towards the top right of
Yes, sir.
the image. So does this camera capture cars entering Azalea Mobile Home Plaza?
Yes, sir, it does.
And we heard testimony from Officer Schenker. And Your Honor, I'm sorry, I did not ask permission. May I remain seated at this point?
Yes. And Mr. Dean, anytime that you're operating in this way, you can remain seated.
Thank you, Your Honor. He testified that the time stamp on the Azalea cameras was off by it was like 80, 81 minutes slow. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir, I do. 80, 81 minutes, because the phone does not give the seconds like the video does.
Okay. So this is the field of view from that first camera that we've talked about.
Yes, sir.
Now, I've advanced to the next slide. We see that arrow pointing down and to the left a little bit. That's the second camera that you described for us, correct?
Yes, sir, it does.
Or I should say the second Azalea camera that you described for us. This next slide, what are we seeing here?
This is the field of view from the camera that we just spoke of with the yellow arrow. It is right next to the other camera that points towards the Chevron station. This points towards the back-ish. I mean, as you would go back further into Azalea, you can also see, I believe, the first road that goes off to the right in that field of view.
And is that first road that goes off to the right, is that visible right there, kind of beyond that truck?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this, because you've mentioned that. I'm going to pull up what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 35. Do you see this?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Does that indicate what it looks like if you take a right turn on that road you just mentioned?
It appears to be.
Okay. All right, back to your presentation. I'm on slide 10 here. I'll try to get us all on slide 10. If you give me a moment.
11:30. Let's make this a short break. It's a 10-minute break. Okay, we'll be back at 11:40, and of course, please don't discuss the case with anyone and don't do any research. Thank you. We're in recess. Thank you. Jurors indicated that they needed a break, so we'll just come back in 10 minutes. All right, thank you. We're in recess. bring out the jury. All right, thank you, Williams. And please have a seat. There haven't been any discussions about the case? No research as well, correct? Okay. Mr. Dean.
All right, so we're on slide 11, and this is that arrow that you said signifies the third camera at Azalea that we talked about, the one that's oriented into that maintenance yard and kind of catches the dumpsters in the distance.
Yes, sir.
And we've got the dumpsters marked there, right?
Yes.
All right, this next slide, slide 12, what are we looking at here?
So again, as previously, we wanted to show the time difference. So obviously we have the cell phone. We also had a detective outside within view on this particular shot that shows the times are the same, and then you can see the timestamp up at the top.
Now, is this the field of view for the camera that we were just talking about?
It's as close as we could get to it. You know, we had it up in the air, and I think it's probably a little bit better view from the camera than what we're seeing here out the window. What we were trying to prove in this image was the time difference.
Okay. We are looking at a monitor here, though, right?
Yes.
All right. So this shows the orientation of that camera?
Yes, sir, it does.
Can you describe to us where that fence is that you were talking about earlier?
Yes, sir, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
So, what I described as a metal hurricane fence is this. It goes all the way around. You might be able to see barbed wire at the top, and you could just see different types of, equipment, heavy equipment that's there.
And where are the dumpsters in this field of view?
Because I've examined it a lot, this dumpsters are roughly in this area right here. It's almost above. You see the skid steer's cat, and then you see what looks like an overturned traffic sign. It would be above the fence right here.
Okay, so it's like the extreme top right of the field of view.
Yes, sir.
Where is that exit road, the one-way exit road that runs along the top of that maintenance yard in this
The
field
exit
of view?
road would be running here, and then as you see the fence, it would be running past this fence right here.
So does this camera catch vehicles exiting Azalea using that exit road?
Yes, sir, it does.
Now, this is a photograph that I think is already introduced into evidence through Officer Schenker. This is just and I think he identified it as a photograph that was taken with the camera essentially under the video camera that we're talking about.
I made sure in camera speak that it was as close to what the human eye sees. That's called a 55 millimeter zoom. So I had him put his camera at 55 millimeter. It's as close as field of view that humans can get. But as you see, it's higher than the previous picture. Again, I'll bring your attention to the cat, skid steer. Here's the sign. If you see this white vehicle right here This is the assistant manager's vehicle of the mobile home park. Parked right there, and the it's kind of hard to see for y'all probably a ways away, but you can actually see some brownish, and then there's some green, but that's exactly where the dumpsters are. We did not have her park there, by the way. She just happened to be there.
Moving on to the next slide. This is also a photograph that has been admitted through the testimony of Officer Schenker. Is that the white car sitting next to the dumpsters that you were just talking about?
Yes, sir, it is.
Is it in the same place in this image as it was in the last image?
It appears to be.
In other words, it hadn't moved?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So now let's actually watch this footage, okay? We backed out and we see the two source buildings, I guess I'll call them, New Ride Auto and the Azalea Management Office. This is slide 15. Slide 16, this is that New Ride Auto camera again.
Yes, sir, it is.
And then slide 17, this is a video clip, right?
Yes, sir. This is the video camera angle from New Ride Auto pointing towards Buckhalter. And you can also see a little bit of 17.
And what time is this footage from?
The timestamp says 1:16 and 15 seconds on Wednesday.
October 5th, 2022?
Yes.
All right, and what are we going to see in this clip?
You're going to see a vehicle pass through your view on the road.
Which road is it going to be on initially?
Buckhalter.
And what direction is it going to be traveling?
It's going to be traveling northbound or towards Ageechee Road.
And when it hits that intersection of Buckhalter and Ogeechee Road, what is it going to do?
It will take a right.
And what type of vehicle does it appear to you to be?
It appears to be a Dodge Journey, a light-colored Dodge Journey.
Now, this series of video clips is in chronological order of when the events occurred, correct?
Yes, sir, they are.
So at this point, that Dodge Journey is taking a right onto Ogeechee Road from Buckhalter Road, right?
Yes, it is.
All right, moving to slide 18, we see the two source buildings marked again. In slide 19, this shows the position and orientation of the first camera that we're going to see footage from, correct?
Yes, sir, it does.
Now, can we see the overhang for the Chevron pumps up there in the top left area?
Yes, sir, in the top right, top left.
And are those some U-Hauls next to that, kind of reflecting?
Yes, I think at the time they were running U-Hauls at that establishment.
In that timestamp that says 23:56, that's 80 to 81 minutes slow, correct?
Yes, sir.
So if it says 23:56 and you add 80 to 81 minutes, you get like 1:17 a.m. or so
Yes, sir.
on October 5th, 2022, right?
Yes, sir.
And what is this clip going to show?
It's going to show a vehicle approach from the left side of the screen, and then it will make a right-hand turn on the entrance to Azalea Mobile Home Park.
Does it appear to be the same vehicle as in the last clip we just watched?
It does.
And this would have been just seconds after that clip we just watched, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, slide 21, this signifies the camera pointing the other way.
Yes, sir, it does.
And I think you mentioned earlier that a vehicle driving into Azalea would pass through the field of view of the camera we just watched footage from into the field of view of this camera.
Yes, sir.
Now, the next slide, what are we going to see here?
You're going to see a vehicle enter from the right-hand side of the screen and then go all the way across the screen and exit the left-hand side of the screen.
Now, we looked at that image earlier of that right turn that you can take with the red arrows.
Yes, sir.
And can you see that street where you would take a right, that's in this frame? is it
Yes,
not?
sir, it does.
Does the vehicle take a right on that road or not?
No, it does not.
And does the vehicle that we're about to see seem to be the same one from the previous vehicle?
It seems to myself, it seems to be the same vehicle.
And this clip would just be like a second or two after that one?
Yes, yes.
Right. Same vehicle driving.
The cameras are right next to each other.
Okay. Now, you mentioned earlier that if you drive in this way that we've just watched this car do, you can make a loop and take that one-way exit road.
Yes, sir. It's a loop. There's several roads that bisect it, but you have to go to that other road to exit.
Is this, the way we just saw this car drive, is that the way that you would drive to make that loop?
Yes.
That takes you past the dumpsters and to that one-way exit road?
That is the full loop. Yes, sir.
Now, what is this here?
Appears to be a still image of the vehicle that we just watched on the video.
And what is this next slide here, slide 24?
This is a Dodge Journey that is sitting in, I believe, the technical garage of the FBI building.
Is that the Dodge Journey that was towed from 535 Buckhalter?
Yes, sir, it is.
Does that Dodge Journey that was towed from the house and photographed at the FBI office, does that appear to be consistent with the vehicle that we're seeing in this security footage?
Yes, sir, it does. I pay particular attention to what we call the back part. If you can see the slant and the angle, there's certain things you look at when you've been looking at cars for a very long time on video that you try to key in on, even though the video is somewhat pixelated. The tire, the area of the tire appears to be the same. The angle of the light appears to be the same.
Now, this next slide, slide 25, this signifies the location of that camera that catches the dumpsters in the top of the front field of view.
Yes.
Now, what are we going to see here?
So what you're going to see here is you're going to see some brightness, and I'll stand up.
Sure, yeah.
You're going to see some brightness. Again, I'll bring your attention to this cat skid steer. Here's the fallen down traffic sign. Again, you're looking in this area right here. And that's kind of orientates you.
And you said you're going to see some brightness. Does it appear to you to be vehicle headlights?
Yes, it does.
And are those vehicle headlights moving continuously throughout this video clip or not?
No, sir, they're not.
Can you tell us for about how long they appear to be stationary?
I think I said earlier, I misspoke. I believe it's probably around 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 15 seconds, something like that.
And based on the pictures that we've looked at so far, what area of Azalea Mobile Home Plaza do those apparent vehicle headlights appear to be stationary at for 2 minutes or so?
Judging by where they're stationary and knowing what I knew from the white vehicle being parked there, I believe it to be in the area of the dumpsters.
Now, initially, when you're just seeing headlights stationary in the area of the dumpsters, are you able to tell what vehicle that is at that point?
No, sir.
Is there a point in this video clip where you do get a good look at that vehicle?
Yes, sir. I believe so. If the jury remembers, I spoke of a hurricane fence and the slats going through them. These are, angled green slats. We've probably all seen them at construction sites. It's supposed to somewhat obscure what's behind the fence. But when a vehicle or when anything is moving behind it, you get an idea better when that object is moving. So you'll see right in here.
What is the vehicle doing at that point? Which direction is it headed? What road is it on? And so
It is
forth?
headed towards the exit.
Is it on that one-way exit road you described?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay, that runs along the top side of that yard.
Yes, sir, it does.
Now, when you get a look at it at that point, does it appear to you to be the same vehicle that we've been seeing in all these other video clips?
It does.
With that preview, I'll go ahead and play the video clip on slide 26 here. Now, at this point, we're about halfway into this video clip. At this point, do those headlights appear to be stationary in the area of the dumpsters?
Yes, sir.
When they appear to start moving to you and making that movement that you were describing to us, will you just let us know and kind of narrate to us what that vehicle is doing and where it's heading?
Okay, it's now moving. As you can tell, there's some light shining off the building, and obviously you see now the car comes into view. You can see it pass what appears to be the same vehicle, crossover vehicle, which is what a Dodge Journey is classified as, a crossover.
And which direction, like where would this vehicle be heading at this point?
Logically, it'd be heading out, exiting the Azalea Mobile Home Park.
Towards Ogeechee Road?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, this next slide, slide 27, this is the first Azalea camera that we talked about, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
This is the one that captures the entrance from Ogeechee Road of vehicles going into Azalea. in the exit from Azalea onto Ogeechee Road and vehicles leaving, correct?
Yes, sir, it does.
And this next slide, slide 28, is some footage from that camera, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
And what are we going to see here?
You're going to see a car come in from the right-hand side of the screen, make a right-hand turn, and then up at Ogeechee Road or Highway 17, you'll see it make a left-hand turn.
Now, initially, when you see, I guess, the headlights of that car, or maybe the car itself, what road is it going to be on? Is it going to be on that one-way exit road?
Yes. It's kind of a triangle, but it's on the exit part of it.
And it's going to make a right onto the Azalea Road that comes off of Ogeechee, and then a left onto Ogeechee Road itself.
Yes, sir, it will.
Does it come to a complete stop?
Yes, it is coming and it is signaling that it's going to turn to the left. And now it's turned.
Now, from the footage that we've watched to this point, did that vehicle appear to stop at the Chevron on the way in or
No,
on the way out from Azalea?
No, sir, it did not.
Now, did you all also get video footage from the Chevron itself?
We did pull video from the Chevron station.
And did you look at that video footage to see whether it somehow showed the vehicle stopping at the Chevron station on either end of this trip?
It showed what this video shows.
Does it essentially just show it driving by the Chevron? to
Yes,
go
sir,
into
it does.
Azalea, and then later out of Azalea?
Yes.
Now, moving on to slide 30, we're back at New Ride Auto here, right?
Yes, sir, we are.
The Ogeechee Road Buckhalter intersection.
Yes.
And what are we going to see in this video clip at slide 31?
You'll see a vehicle approach from the right-hand side of the screen, and it will make a left-hand turn onto Buckhalter Road.
Does it appear to be the same vehicle that we've been watching for the last?
It appears to be.
A little glitchy. Let's try that again, see if it works better. What time are we at here?
It is 1:22:45 in the morning on Wednesday, 10/5/2022.
Now, would that right turn on Buckhalter there, or I'm sorry, left turn onto Buckhalter there, would that take you back to 535 Buckhalter Road?
Yes, if you followed Buckhalter Road, it would take you back there.
One moment, please, Your Honor. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Sergeant Coleman, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
Good. Just got a couple of questions. You're more technologically advanced than I am.
I don't know.
Well, I call my daughter in college for computer help, so.
I understand.
In terms of collection of cell phone information,
Yes, sir.
my understanding is there's a computer program which you know how to operate.
Yes, sir.
I think your words were you plug it in and let the machine do its thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your job is to be the technical guy who is able to download that stuff, for lack of a more precise term,
Yes, sir.
and then provide it to the detectives for interpretation.
Yes.
Okay. And you used a phrase in terms of the videos that we've been talking about for the last few minutes. Out of frame. Tell us what that means, please.
When I say out of frame, I meant out of frame of the physical television.
Okay. So if it's out of frame, anyone who's looking at it, trying to interpret it, can't really see what's going on.
That would be correct.
You said that most of the video, at least that I think I watched, other than the references of where cameras were, the actual video of cars really moving and things was pretty dark.
It is dark in there at night, yes, sir.
And I think we were talking about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the vehicles that you've seen, at least the ones that I saw, and I want you to tell me if I'm wrong, those videos that you were referencing, I didn't see anybody get in a vehicle or get out of them. Is that
Correct.
correct? Okay. So we see cars moving or just parked.
Yes.
And in terms of identifying vehicles, I think you said that there was a picture of the Dodge Journey, and I think it's the FBI.
Yes, in their tech lab, yes.
Thank you. Didn't want to call it the FBI garage.
It basically is.
What you actually said was that picture was consistent with the vehicle that we have seen some pictures of moving.
I believe it to be.
Okay. Consistent means kind of looks like it, but you can't be absolutely sure it's the same vehicle, can you?
I believe it to be the same make and model, yes, sir.
Because it's consistent.
And color.
It's consistent with what you saw in the FBI place.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
There are a couple of slides on here that I neglected to ask you about because I momentarily thought we had come to the end. Going to slide 32, what structure are we seeing here?
So this is a single wide mobile home. I believe it's, can't remember the lot number. For some reason 13 is sticking in my head, but I could be wrong on that.
Where is it in reference? Is it at Azalea Mobile Home Plaza?
Yes, sir.
Where is it in relation to the dumpsters?
If I was taking this picture and I turned around 180 degrees, the dumpsters are right there.
Okay, so this picture is taken essentially from the dumpsters.
Yes, sir.
Now, zooming in on that at slide 33, what are we looking at there over the window?
So right above the window is it's a camera, video camera, and it stores. It's not the kind of video camera that has a central storage area. It has what's called a SD card in it. Think of it as a little hard drive, okay? You pull it out, you can put it in a computer, and then watch the video. It doesn't have its own computer with it. It was explained to me by the manager of Azalea Mobile Home Park that they own that camera, but that the man that actually owns the trailer allowed them to keep it there. They were not sure if it worked or not, but obviously because of its proximity, we were very interested in it. We were given permission to take the camera by the property management. We looked at the camera, we took the SD card out. I can use the term corrupted. This camera is not made for outside, and we all live in Savannah. It's humid, it's hot. This is not a ruggedized camera, and we were not able to pull any images or video from this camera at all.
Did you, once you had taken a crack at it, did you give that camera or the SD card in it or both to the FBI
Yes, sir, I did.
to see whether they could do any more than you were able to do with it?
Yes, sir, I did.
And you mentioned it's not designed for outdoor use. Is it an indoor camera?
It's an indoor camera.
And is it something like it had been put up by the manager to deter illegal dumping?
That's what she explained to me.
Okay. Just to be clear, was this something, we've watched a bunch of video from like the commercial system at the property management office, right?
Right.
And all those cameras worked and everything, barring the timestamp issue. Was this camera a part of or tied into that, commercial system?
No, sir, it was not.
Something totally different.
Yes.
And you guys took it and did what you could with it.
We did what we could with it. Yes, sir.
But you were ultimately not able to recover any footage from it from the night of the 4th?
I was not, no, sir.
Okay. One moment, please. No further questions.
Nothing further, thank you, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Sergeant, thank you. You may step down and you're excused.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think it's a great time for a break. It's 12:15. Let's break for lunch. Let's come back at 1:15. We'll come back in an hour. I understand that you're having lunch here up in the snack bar area. We'll get back, get started. No worries. We're not going to go extremely long today. Okay? I figured I'd break it to you. But
If that ends up happening.
No objection to that.
okay, let's take a break. We'll see y'all in an hour. Well, 1 hour. Okay, we're in recess. No discussion, no research, please.
Jury's exiting.